What's going down, everybody? I have to speak to a situation that's pretty common. I don't think people notice. It is so important that you do the work on yourself before dating or picking a person because your insecurities within yourself will show and you will make that person miserable. Now, I'm not talking about insecurities like in regards to the opposite sex. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you get with that brother or that sister and they got their stuff together. They know what their purpose is, maybe financially, maybe in ministry, and you may still have questions or you maybe not so much. So instead of you being able to celebrate them and show up for them and be a good partner and a good support system, you have that a little bit of jealousy and it starts to eat you up inside. Why can't I have that? I want that. What about me? To the point where you see couples like in competition. And I think that is just baffling. Like you can't give this person a compliment without the significant other. Like, what about me? I do that. Or are you this person's husband? Are you this person's wife? Oh, people know me by your wife or husband. It's instead of us being a partnership or you being happy for me, you can be celebrated. Since you have these deficiencies or these insufficiencies within yourself, it shows and rears its ugly head in your relationship. And no one likes to necessarily say, yes, I'm jealous of my spouse. Yes, my spouse is on this higher tier and it bothers me. But be honest with yourself. And it won't be too long to the other person notices, like, this person doesn't really celebrate me. Or when I get that new level promotion, or I get this new whatever it is, the next level, that's good. Congratulations. It is not just in your relationships, your friendships too. I want you to be on guard for people who cannot celebrate you. And I mean celebrate you in fullness, like to be totally happy, be totally supportive. Hey, you want to do this? Let's explore that for you. And I'm afraid that people have so much of their own, I'm going to say, neuroses or their own things that they have not unpacked that it's overflowing. And what it is, the other person is just themselves. They can't help it that they're in the season of blessing. They can't help it that they know what their talents are. They can't help it that they're recognized. They can't help whatever that is. And instead of you being what you were called to be, you are in the way and you will not let that person shine. And if that's you, I want you to take a minute to think about your relationship or your friendships and say, is that you and why? I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. And what it is, you feel like, oh, that person's way ahead of me. And you resent it because truthfully, you think that they'll get better because you don't see yourself as better, because your self-worth is tied into your purpose or your finances or whatever these things are. And I was looking at all the Bible, what we call Bible heroes, and I was thinking about like Moses' wife. Moses was the deliverer. He was our anti-type for Jesus. Moses was married to Zipporah. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't, and the Bible doesn't speak on it, but I'm not saying that she didn't feel sometimes maybe lonely or sometimes feeling, the pressure for her husband. But the Bible never spoke of her being mouthy or contentious or jealous or her getting in the way of God's assignment for him. I was thinking about the only female judge, Deborah. And Deborah was the first and only female judge of all Israel and a prophetess. Deborah was also married to Lapidoth. I'm probably mispronouncing it, go with it anyway. But we don't hear that he was in the way. We know that she had and these people had to be supportive mates. So I want to ask, are you a supportive mate? Are you in support enough for someone who may be called to a heavier assignment than you? Maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, spouse, whatever is called to a weightier assignment. Can you handle that without feeling slighted? I'm even thinking about Moses' own sister and brother at a time were feeling slighted about his level. Is that you in a relationship where you start to feel like, well, what about me? What does God have about me? And if it is you, you are probably not ready to be in a relationship with person until you can get that figured out, because that person does not deserve you coming in, bringing in all that baggage of things that's within yourself. You can't apologize for who God has called you to be. So if you can't apologize for who God has called you to be or God's assignment for you, it is very important that you have your eyes open and your discernment very open to not being linked up with the person who is going to stand in the way or even try to hold you back. You gotta go again. You gotta go tonight. What about me? All those things. You are entitled to human emotions. We are all entitled to human emotions. That doesn't mean that you're not going to miss that person if they have to go out of town for weeks. That doesn't mean that you aren't going to feel whichever way you feel. But are you being a supportive party in this, or are you being a hindrance? And again, check your friendships too. You show up for your friends when it's time to celebrate. Do you show up for your siblings, people in your life? Do you really show up? And I mean, you show up with a good heart that you're really, really happy. Or are you so busy looking at when's my time? What about me? That little twinge or whatever you feel, it needs to be worked on out, because again, you're probably hindering your own blessings or your own assignment, or you're not even cognizant of yours because you're looking at someone else's. So much of our issue is us looking at other people. So in regards to relationships, fellas, women, be very, very careful, especially if you're successful, especially if you are of good stature, maybe in community, maybe in your church, maybe at your job, whatever. Watch how people react to your accolades. Watch if they are giving your accolades. Watch how people show up for you and really, really show support, or if they are a hindrance.